Wow, that's very insightful. And this is what I'm saying is that you can only see those things because you have experienced it and it was ingrained in you. So that as soon as any kind of pattern even looks like it, you recognize it immediately. So when you think about that, I mean, the world went into lockdown. There was clearly a lot of censorship of any opinion outside of that. But certainly it must have taken a different step. Could you have imagined that your country could have reached the mandating of a medical intervention? Could you have imagined that early on? Or was that surprising?
It was a big surprise, very big surprise. That's why it's, I would expect doctors, at least if you decide to do lockdowns, I would expect free conversation. I would expect a round table with lots of doctors with different opinions. I would expect lockdowns. It's tough to imagine to happen in a free world because basically people who live in a social communist country, they live in lockdowns all their lives.
Mm,
It's not lockdown that you sit in your house, but it's your mental lockdown.
wow.
It's lockdown what my grandma, my mother, my relatives experience all their lives. It's a mental lockdown, what would never, ever, ever disappear from your mind. And now when it's a physical lockdown, you would expect opinions. Why? No, that was just a rule. You have to follow, and everybody did.
There's something you touched on there that I really wanted to get into, which is the mental lockdown. Do you think the West is still currently almost in that still same mindset of a mental lockdown where they they will only respond to instructions? Is that still possible?
It's 100% possible. Fear is contagious, okay? And I do understand that lots of people were afraid because what they saw, they for the first 2, 3, 6 months, that was, I'm sorry, Philip, I would call it propaganda. What I experienced all my life as a child. When you cannot question decisions, when you cannot ask questions, when you cannot discuss what's going on, it's not a science. Okay, we get used to, and lots of people love it. Lots of people believe in that. Lots of people saw the way out of pandemic by seeing a very strict rules, because for some it was horrible experience. Even I can understand people who wanted very strict guidelines for everyone because fear was enormous. I don't know about other countries, but here in Canada, it was constantly on a mainstream media. For beginning, I could not find any other information. So for first 6 months, mainly it was TV information from a mainstream. And it was a horrible experience. I could not find any positive, I could not find even smile on people's face. I could not, when it's a disaster. And I remember my country survived in the Second World War. We were told 27 million people died. Every family lost someone. And years later, we still remember those people. It's enormous tragedy. And we talk about this tragedy on a daily basis. That's part of the culture. You cannot avoid it. But in the same time, Philip, we had great books who describe war with humor. We had great stories. We had great movies. We had great memories. But when lockdown happened and it's mainstream media and we have to, well, let's use the word combat that disaster, I could not find the leaders. I could not find a brave man on a mainstream media. I saw lots of examples on website, on YouTube's with private conversation, but I could not see even a glance of hope, let's say. Something positive, something what leader will do. Just light on the end of the channel, a smile from a nurse, a smile from a doctor who would say, we found it's temporary. We will go through that. Something would drive people to be positive, not to be afraid on a daily basis.
No, those are powerful observations. And I think one of the reasons why I wanted to talk to you, Olga, is that it seems as though we are not beyond that yet. And if the political class has that kind of influence and have tasted the power of it, they will never want to let it go, will they?
You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right, Philip. That's something what government once experienced. It's nice to hold people in that stage when they can manipulate, when they can control them, when they can say and people will listen. It's very sad for me, Philip, to see right now people who driving in a car with a mask on, just one driver, just a nice car, and this person is wearing N95 mask. It was very difficult for me to see an old lady in a park by herself. No one is around her, and she's wearing a mask. She's very afraid. And if anyone just near her, she's like turning her head and she's afraid that somebody would approach her. And I saw people who were afraid that other people were touching their dogs. That's mental stage. Unfortunately, my stay forever, because the moment you cross this line, the moment you realize that you're in danger, you follow the rules. And it might be medical danger, or it might be danger from a government who might be just be interested in your behavior, as we all felt as when you're 16, 17, you're not afraid of anything. You know everything in your life. Now every step is a challenge, but when you're young, you just explore everything, right? And every time people around you tell you, no, be careful, don't say that, you cannot do that, please think about that, no, we are your friends, like, please do it without us, or never mention our names, never mention our last names. That stays in you